Welcome to my little space where heart and hook stitch up a place where we can together make a refuge safe for all our sake. All right, here is the Flower of Life shrug that you saw me making in last week's video. I just didn't get to the photo shoot in time to include it there, so here it is here. This is one made all in cotton, mostly cotton. There are some sequins in one of these yarns, and this one is just really festive and bright and vibrant and kind of Christmassy almost, and also kind of earthy too. It was a double photo shoot because I also had this Nana to photograph. This is my 61st Nana in my series of Nanas Against Trump and Fascism. Remember, I'm donating the proceeds from these to the ACLU. This one is named after Emily. So there she is. She's available in my shop. So there was the photo shoot I just did this morning for both my new shrug that you saw me making in the last video, as well as this latest Nana. This is Nana Emily, number 61 in my series of Nanas Against Trump and Fascism. And this is continuing to make worse my piles and piles of Nanas. I have some huge bags of Nanas in the garage, and I'm getting a nice big pile up there on that cabinet now. So I need to bag up some more. Whoa, dropping her. So I have sold several, but I am still putting each one I make every week in my shop. So this is just a reminder that if you'd at all like to have a Nana from my series, limited edition, I'm making them every week ever since Trump was elected. This is my anti-Trump art project, and I'm donating the proceeds to the ACLU after I subtract shipping cost and Etsy fees. So look how fun that is. They are all unique. You don't have to know the person that it's named after to appreciate it, but I do have several that are named after famous people that you might know of. So she's just now gotten her spot, her listing in my shop, so she is available. And then I just wanted to say welcome to a new video. I guess I'm kind of obsessed with making these crochet vlogs now. I have on the docket, I have to make 2 mouth puppets, one with tongue ties and one without tongue ties and with teeth. So I've already selected a button color at random because this person did not specify. So it's like a light brown color. That's how far I've gotten into this order of 2 mouth puppets. So I need to make 4 total panels in the gray, 4 panels in the beige. So that's what I'm going to be working on right now. I've just been lately doing, the last couple days, doing a lot of video editing type of stuff. So, oh, and then I went to the snow with my partner and all of our kids the other day. So that's what you'll be seeing in the next few videos. Just to show off where we went, what it looks like here. This is Sierra National Forest. And yeah, I think one of the things I need to do very soon, now that it's the new year, is do all of my accounting for my business. So I will be getting all of my receipts out. I just have a spot where I keep a stack of receipts for the year. And then when the year is over, then I take them all and I spend a few hours inputting all the information into my computer and into a document so that I can do my taxes. And we'll see how much I spend tying yarn in 2025. I guess that's kind of it for check-in. I made myself laugh this morning. I wore this dress for my photo shoot with these leggings, which I think is fun and wild, and it totally goes. And then instead of wearing a sweater, I just put this shirt on underneath. you know, gotta layer it up in the winter. And I was totally laughing because I love how it looks together. We've got the stripes, the bold stripes, we've got this like Indian print and this like tie-dye. So I don't know, I like to make a statement even if I'm just hanging out at home. But I would totally go out like this. Don't get me wrong. So anyway, I'm gonna get to crocheting some mouth puppets, and then I should start looking into getting some yarns out and organized for my kids' blankets. I'm making 4 blankets over the course of this year, and I don't want to let too much of January go by. I'm gonna try to divide the 4 blankets, divvy it up amongst the 12 months of the year so that I know that I'm getting at least as much done each month that I need to get done on these blankets. So I haven't done that yet, but I like to be very organized about these kinds of things, and I'm a very list goal oriented person. So I'll be doing that. I'll be making myself like a note in my phone of how many squares of a blanket that I need to make in each month, and I'll need to figure out how many I need to do this month, since we are already well into this month. I'll check back in a little bit. This is the point in the drive when we first started seeing snow. And here we have officially hit Wonderland status. I sped up the video just a little bit because I didn't want to cut any of this out. Here is the edge of the plowed parking lot at the end of the road. This is where we hung out to play. You see that thing right there? Yeah, that's the top of a picnic table. We use these sweet water flavors to make snow cones out of just little balls of snow. On the left here, you see our sparkling waters, and on the right, you see the top of a grill covered in snow. I just really wanted to give another plug for this. So my singing voice is now available to hear streaming on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. This is the short album that Olympia Trout Patrol made. This is my friend from high school, Michael Edminster. He sampled bits of my singing recordings from college and created new music. So I've actually never streamed music until now, and I downloaded the free version of Spotify just so I could experience it on this platform. So just a reminder, all the music you hear in my videos is either my original live recordings or his productions using samples of my singing. Well, today we had my daughter's birthday party a whole week after her actual birthday, and all the friends just went home. She just had 3 friends over, so it was a nice little group of 15-year-olds. Anyway, it took me longer than usual to get through making these mouth puppets. This one is done. This one is still not done yet. This is the one with the tongue ties, so it just has the buttons. I still need to attach the ties here, and I need to put the hinges on here on the back. So that's almost done. I'm about to finish that next, now that I can retire to my room where I usually do my work. You can see Willie is there. He's very relieved that we can now settle into my room like we usually do in the evening. He gets really stressed out when we have a bunch of people over. But I just got the email from Star Lily to do a pattern test for her. So I'm going to pattern test her the new design that she's done of some leg warmers with a marijuana leaf, and they flare out at the bottom. So I've also just set out yarns. I'm going to go with all my yarn scraps that I have set aside that I've been using for my nanas. And I just kind of mixed up the colors sort of in like a rainbow order. And I'm going to alternate a green with some other yarn, and then a green and some other yarn, and then a green and then some other yarn. And then I have 3 greens that I'm alternating within that. So I'm not sure how many yarns I'm going to need, but it's going to be just a wild, scrappy, fun project using like mostly green and all these other yarn colors. So kind of rainbowy for half of it and green for the other half of it. So I'll show you that in a second. So I will probably get started on that tonight after I finish this mouth puppet, because I only have a few minutes of work to do on this mouth puppet to be done. And then I will have, 3 mouth puppets and a pair of gloves to ship. And I feel kind of bad. That pair of gloves and previous mouth puppet that I finished have been sitting over there for about a week since I finished making them, and I still haven't shipped them yet. It's fine, because within Etsy I said that it would be 1 to 3 weeks before shipping, and so we are still well within that. But I feel kind of bad not shipping right away. But you know, it's kind of the holiday time, kind of a little bit of a break from constant runs to the post office. But I will rectify that tomorrow by shipping tomorrow morning, and that will welcome us into the new year of business as usual again, with regular shipping schedules, as long as I keep getting orders. So fingers crossed on that one. Okay, so I've filled you in on my diet previously. So I eat, in case you're new here, I mostly eat carnivore, or you could say ketovore a lot of the time, because I eat mostly animal products, meat, cheese, eggs, but then I regularly also include avocado, sometimes olives, and now sometimes lettuce too. I've started having lettuce again just for the fun of having a salad, and the lettuce hasn't been giving me a problem. Well, recently, like I want to say a couple weeks ago, I started having digestive troubles. I had a pretty cheesy meal, and I thought that it was probably just like extra fatty. If I have a really fatty meal, it can kind of just like, normally my digestion on this way of eating has been perfect, and that was one of the reasons that I stayed with this way of eating, because I've talked about my surgery before, but I had to have surgery to repair pelvic organ prolapse of 3 different organs, including hysterectomy. And going carnivore as opposed to keto, when I was doing a keto, it was a very high fiber keto, lots of veggies, lots of, unfortunately, also like keto products like protein bars and stuff like that have added fiber. And when I eliminated the fiber and went carnivore, digestion was like, I didn't know it could be so perfect and good. So recently so basically, if I have a meal that's fattier than usual, it might change it up for that meal, like that one period of time after that meal. But yeah, like a couple weeks ago, I just basically got sick after eating, and like every single meal I had after that, I would get all this digestive discomfort and upset, and it was really uncomfortable for hours. And eventually I came around to thinking maybe it's the cheese. Maybe I'm suddenly lactose intolerant, and I think that that's what's happening, because for the past week now, almost a week, I've been eating no cheese. Every meal has been no cheese, and everything has been fine. So I think I suddenly had a problem with cheese. I did have one really cheese-heavy meal that I think triggered this problem to arise. So I'm curious to see. I will keep you updated. I will keep doing the keto carnivore ketovore thing, but without cheese for at least a full week. It's been almost a week that I've been doing no cheese. Probably should do even longer, give my system a chance to recover, and then I'll see about starting to incorporate small amounts of cheese and see how my system reacts. Let me know in the comments, have you experienced lactose intolerance coming or going? I did have it previous to having kids, and then somehow it just seemed to go away during my pregnancy with my first child. So now that it's one of the few foods that I eat, I don't eat all that many different types of foods. I would be really sad to give up cheese. So I'm hoping to like work myself back into being able to digest it, but we'll see. I don't know. But all that being said, I'm going to dive into my crochet. I'm going to finish this puppet, and I'll show you the yarns that I selected for the leg warmers coming up. All right, I've got 2 ornaments here already stuffed. I've got 2 more that I need to stuff with some yarn scraps. Boom. I finished that mouth puppet with the tongue ties. That's the one with the teeth. And I will have 4 ornaments to go with my 4 packages for shipping tomorrow. All right, now that I've got my 4 items to ship all ready to go and in order for tomorrow, here are my 3 main yarns for these weed warmers, I think is what she's calling them, the leg warmers with the pot leaf. So I'm going to be alternating every other row in each of these, and then for the alternating rows I will be going through these colors, and I have no idea how many I'll get through. I did not count the number of yarns that I could use in this pattern, so I assume I won't get to all of these, but it'll be just like wild silly with a green theme. My partner is so fun. You can pretty much assume that anything I include in my videos that is non-crochet related is due to the fact that my partner is really cool. So he used to do model rockets as a kid, and so he got them and did them with us. Well, I am back home. I have gotten really close to finishing these leg warmers as a pattern test for Star Lily Creations. Here's one, and the other is the same. So, as you can see, I feel like this the parameters I gave myself for color scheme this time worked really well. I have these 3 greens, and I alternated a green in each row, starting with the brightest green in the center and then going medium green, darker green, bright, medium, dark in every other space, every other row. And then the alternating rows, I did other colors, sort of somewhat indiscriminately. I kind of put them in an order to kind of spread them out a little bit. But all these other colors are just sort of smaller amounts of scrap yarns that I have. And here's a tie for the side. So the final steps that I need to do on these are, they would go like this on your legs so that they tie on the sides. I'm going to add a tassel to the ends of each of these ties, and I'm going to use a little bit of each of the yarns from the body of this in the tassels. And I need to weave in all the ends, turn them inside out, weave in all the ends. And then the final step is I'm going to add some fuzzy to the very top and the very bottom. And I see, now I think the trick to having yarn selection and color selection be super fun and whimsical, I always get complimented on my color selections. I think the trick is to not think about it too much, honestly. There's oftentimes some aspect of randomness to my decision making. And obviously I chose to have these 3 greens, but then there's a randomness in all the other colors that are in there as well. I just pulled out my one bag of my fuzzy yarns, and I just started pulling a few up one at a time to these leg warmers, and I just went with the first one that I really liked, and that's this one. So it's got some green, some blue, and purple. So I think that'll look really nice right at the top and right at the bottom. I was a little afraid these might be too long, but I don't think they will be, because once I put on shoes with them, once you wear shoes with them, that's going to raise your feet a little bit more even. I just don't want them dragging on the ground. So I was trying to decide whether I wanted to make them even any longer by adding a row of this. I already left a row off of the pattern because I was afraid they were going to be too long. So I was thinking, instead of doing a row of single crochets, I might just do slip stitches, because that would be lower profile. I could even do surface crochet over the tops of the double crochets down here. That would mostly cover up that row though. So I don't know. Or I could do slip stitches in the front loop only, so that there's a line of the fuzzy that doesn't really make it much longer there. So anyway, it wouldn't add much length anyway to do a single crochet row, but So there's those, almost done. That'll be fun to photograph. I don't know how much it is my style. I'm not even a pot smoker, but that doesn't matter. I'm definitely like a hippie clothes type of maker, so I will definitely photograph those. They will be available, and I'll make a listing in my shop. I'll have to figure out pricing and all that. Alrighty, hello again. So same sweater, different day. You can tell by the earrings being different. So I just finished the weed warmers that I was doing as a pattern test for Star Lily Creations. That pattern test group, oh my goodness, has been the most active group I've ever been a part of. And I've done a lot of pattern testing. I'm not sure how many I've done now. Probably like at least 20, I'm thinking. But anyway, and I only just started pattern testing in the past few years, so I haven't even been doing it that long. But I enjoy the camaraderie. This pattern in particular, I guess it kind of exploded on Star Lily's page on her Instagram and Facebook, I think. And apparently a lot of people are interested in making them and purchasing them. So some people interested in making, other people interested in purchasing. So she actually opened up the pattern test group to be much larger than she initially had planned, because she thought, you know what, might as well get some more made and out there right off the bat so that there are more available for people to purchase. And we've had a lively discussion about pricing and whatnot. And I gave my 2 cents about how or my, 50 cents about how I do my pricing scheme. And I'm happy to give you guys a little rundown. I'll give a little explanation for that. I'll input that here. Okay, so for the first step in figuring out pricing, I need to time myself making the item. What I did is I did a section of one, and then I did a section of the second one while timing. So I just timed myself in batches making the second one, and then I multiplied that by 2 to get my total time, which is 7.83 hours. I just keep it in decimals I just keep it in decimals instead of hours and minutes because it's easier to do the math that way. Then when I finish, I weigh the entire thing, and it ended up being 9.45 ounces. And then I do a simple little calculation with sort of a guesstimate about how much I spend for a skein. So here I have my materials cost based on the yarn used, which I put at $7.88. I also have here the 20 cents that it costs to list on Etsy, and I'm showing the $12 to cover shipping. It doesn't always cost that much, but it oftentimes costs close to that or even more. And then I also have to account for the other Etsy fees, not just the listing fee. So Etsy takes a fee for the transaction, and then there's also a fee for credit card usage on the website. So that's why I include adding in 10%. So what I do is, I've explained this before, but I do give a price range where my customers can choose their price, with a minimum price that would pay me $12 an hour. So the way I figure that out is I take 12, which would be that bottom wage price that I'm accepting, that I'm happy to take. I'll take the $12, multiply it by the hours I spent making it, which is 7.83. And then I take that figure and I add to it the cost of materials, the $7.88, the cost of the listing fee, 20 cents, the $12 for shipping, and then I take that total and I multiply it by 1.1 to add in what the other Etsy fees that they tack on. And that's how I get to $125 as my bottom price. And then I do the same thing for these other price points that I like to point out in my listings. So basically, if somebody wants to pay me California minimum wage right now is $16.90, I'll do the same calculations with that, and that gets me $198. And then what I call artist wage is actually the average wage that crocheters for hire earn when they're being hired by, say, a company to do some crochet or something. So that is actually in California is $20.78. Yes, that's a good wage, right, for a crocheter. So I do the same calculations with that, and at that wage, if I'm earning that wage, it's going to cost my customer on Etsy $201. And then my top price, I have it topped out at what Google tells me is the average California living wage, which is $28.72. I do the same calculations, and that gets me to a price of $269. I explain all of this in my listings, and I also allow for a bunch of different prices all the way through that range. So my customer really has a wide opportunity to choose anywhere within that. And believe it or not, my customers do actually choose at all the different price points. I do say in my listings, I am so grateful for every sale. Even if you choose the bottom price, please don't feel bad about that, because you are my base customer. You are the reason that I'm able to do this full time, because without maybe half of my customers or so picking the bottom price, I probably wouldn't be able to sustain doing this. And I want this to not be super, super exclusive, because I am very aware that even my bottom price is pretty pricey when you compare it to other things, fast fashion and whatnot. I understand. I am not even my own type of customer, so I understand if these prices look really expensive to you. I sympathize. And the other thing I didn't even mention that I do is I round to the nearest dollar, just because it's like, with these dollar amounts, why even bother with fractions of dollars? So as you can see, they are pretty pricey, even at my bottom price. But I will be photographing them tomorrow morning, so I should be able to add them to this vlog before I'm editing to finish it up tomorrow. They right now I soaked them in water. Well, mostly soaked. I don't like make sure that they're totally waterlogged, as long as they're pretty damp. And then I put them in mesh garment bags in the dryer on medium heat, and I just let them go for a little bit. I didn't really time it or anything. And when I took them out, they were still pretty damp, but like toasty warm, which is what I want. I just want that heat to sort of kill the acrylic and like make it more drapey. So after taking them out, they are now spread out on my bed on top of a towel to dry the rest of the way. I will show you what that looks like here. And so now I just need to wait for those to dry. They should be dry by tomorrow morning when I'm ready to photograph them. I already have an outfit picked out. It's going to be pretty wild, lots of colors. Why not? Right now, as you can see over here, I have more yarn scraps. Actually, these are all yarns that made it into the leg warmers. I'm going to be using these to start another Nana. So it is now Sunday. I'm not as far ahead as I have been the past couple weeks, so I need to make my next Nana. And now this is kind of fun. This person, so initially when I was having the idea to do this Nanas Against Trump and Fascism project, I just started writing down in my phone a list of names. And as I thought of names, I wrote them down. And that's kind of the order that I've been going in. Unless something occurs to me that I'm like, oh, I want to do this one next, then I'll plug that one up. I'll move it up and whatnot. So just going down my list of names, I still haven't run out yet. One of the names that I put that is the next one for this week that I'm going to name this one after is Sarah Bullwinkle. Now, she is somebody that I went to school with, high school. She was also a singer, also played violin, so I knew her through both of those avenues. And we even played violin together a little bit in junior high, middle school. where I think we did like a little duet together at one point. Anyway, she has this beautiful soprano voice, at least from what I remember back in high school. I was so impressed to find out that she is now a music agent, and she signed Billie Eilish initially when Billie was 14 years old. And then she was her agent for a long time. I just looked it up because I wasn't sure if she still was, and it looks like Billie Eilish was with her company up until 2024 when she switched to a different management company. So this I mean, that's huge, right? Like, I know the gal that signed Billie Eilish, and yeah, it's not really a brag on my part, but it's like, wow, talking about people that I know that or at least I knew back in high school, that have really impressed me. And so, since I'm naming each Nana after somebody that I find inspiring, I thought Sarah should definitely have a Nana named after her. So that's what this is. Obviously, I haven't started yet. I'm going to be going on that now, getting going on that now. And I'll show you a little crochet. Why not? Well, so much for that. I thought I had done all of this on time lapse, but I guess the storage on my phone filled up and it stopped somewhere around here. So it's just a little bit of a time lapse, but there's where I got to. And now I need to use my phone to follow the pattern because that's as much as I have memorized until I get to the end. Well, until I get to like a few rows before the end of the legs. All right, check out the sequins on this leg. How cool is that? Oh my gosh. Okay, Jen, you've sold me on these. Look how fun. They were slightly above ground before I blocked them or killed the acrylic. And now barefoot, they're almost touching the ground. But I'm going to wear my boots with them anyway. So, and here I've got, of course, Snapdragon Brands pants on, leggings. So there's those. I'm about to go photograph them. So I don't know why I'm doing oops, I bonked my mic. I don't know why I'm doing a pre-photo shoot, but I'm doing a pre-photo shoot, I guess. So you can see what they look like barefoot, I suppose. So I'm about to put on my boots and go outside and do a proper photo shoot. But I wanted to mention that initially I left one row off. I wasn't sure whether the pattern is supposed to be 16 rows down here or 17. But I left one row off of 16. So I had initially done it 15 rows down here, thinking about wearing these here below the knee. But then when I realized, oh my gosh, they're being modeled above the knee, that's when I moved it up here and I added 3 more rows. So now it is not only 17, but 18, I think. No, 17. Sorry, 17 rows. So that's what I've done. I've tied them on pretty tight to make sure they stay up. And I remember Star Lily saying that they do stay up better when you wear them over leggings, which is probably what you would do anyway if you were actually just trying to stay warm. This is the ambiance that my backyard greeted me with this morning when I went out to take some video. The lighting was actually much better than what this seems to indicate. This is just the evaporation happening over my pool. By the way, I'm not actually smoking in this video. It's just my breath. You can see my breath because of how cold it is out here. It was 36 degrees this morning. Well, there you have it. As you saw, I photographed the leg warmers this morning. I love how they turned out, and I like how my photo shoot turned out. I have fun with that. Apparently, I turn to yoga whenever I have something on my legs to model. But it is now time to sign out for this video. This is how far I've gotten with my Nana. So you'll get to see this one completed in the next video. And the next thing on the docket for me is a Queen Elizabeth I wig. So I already have my orange yarn out for that. Right after this, stay tuned for a reel I'm tagging on the end of this video. I'm including a reel that I put together of all the negative, rude comments that I've gotten so far on YouTube on my Nanas. So anything that was negative about the Nanas or, you know, being anti-Trump, I put in this reel just for fun. So basically, I always give a heart, or I always try to remember to give a heart, even for the negative comments, and say thank you, because they're helping me in the algorithm. So by watching and commenting, it's only helping to boost my channel, which is what I would love to have happen. So thank you. And to highlight how I triggered a bunch of seemingly MAGA people, I think it's just funny, some of these comments. So I think I didn't let it play long enough to read them all. So if you need to, you can pause it and read them. But anyway, with that, I'll see you next week. Crochet hooks and colors bright, crafting wonders day and night. Join the fun, come see it through, subscribe, and I'll create for you.